All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, we have just a couple of seconds past 12. And thank you so much for joining us today for this Lunch and Learn. My name is Lars, and I'm one of the application engineers here at CADimensions. And today we're going to talk a little bit about SolidWorks online resources. So I hope that you guys will find this, this really helpful today. So what we really are up against here is that we all know that we're living in the information time, and there's a lot of information, and everybody knows about Google and stuff like that. But what I really would like to do today is I just wanted to kind of like try to break it down a little bit in a sense of not just throwing a bunch of links up there and spend too much time trying to just bombard with a bunch of information, because we all know that there's a billion of it out there, and we could probably spend hours and hours talking about all these different things. So I want to keep it somewhat short. I'm going to try to do that at least. Some of you guys know me, and when I get talking, but I'm going to try to make it short. And I kind of wanted to try to do it a little bit differently. I'm not sure how well I'm going to do, but I thought about these guys when I was preparing for this topic, online resources. Like I said, to me, first, I'm like a little bit afraid of turning this into a data dump. I don't want that. So my thought was that I would kind of like try to steal a little bit of what these guys do, because we all know that they're successful because they're taking science and they're kind of like making it live, right? So I hope that kind of like works. Now, on my previous slide here before, I did show my email address. That might be important, lars@CADimensions.com, because I do have information to all these different links, all this, the different blogs and all that kind of stuff. And we're more than happy to send you all that information, but I don't want to go through all that today. Today, I kind of like want to just run through, a good, hopefully somewhat fun, quick access into some of these SolidWorks online resources. And if you want more than that, if you want all the different blogs and all that, to kind of like go, out and search and work on yourself, please email me at lars@CADimensions.com. And also, again, any comments or anything, if you found this helpful or anything, then you can, of course, also email there. I'd love to get your guys' feedback if these kind of topics are helpful. So going back to my PowerPoint here, I'm going to try to kind of like keep it a little bit, like these guys, some maybe a little bit more real day-to-day, how can we work with these SolidWorks online resources. So the first thing is really this little interface here that hopefully everybody is somewhat comfortable with, right, inside SolidWorks, because actually we have, right from inside SolidWorks, we have some access to some different stuff in there. So let's jump into our favorite modeling software. Okay, so SolidWorks. Well, if you go over to the right over here, we have these different blogs you can click on, and one of them here is SolidWorks Resources. There's a little house on it, and if you click on that one, I'm just going to thumbstick it so it stays here. If you click on it, you may have kind of like looked through this a little bit. You can do things getting started, right? There's a quick way out to the tutorials, but I like the SolidWorks tutorials. I always recommend people to use them. The What's New document is always good. 2014 is in beta right now. It's always good to kind of like keep on what's up there. There's a little introduction to SolidWorks, and then here is the general information. That's kind of like the first one we get popped on. When you click on this one, well, it takes us out on the web. So you will see SolidWorks opens up here. I might have a little bit of a slow because I'm actually wireless. But what you will see, it opens up this little platform here on a website on solidworks.com. It's kind of like buried in support, technical support here. And you will see that there is the different product, data management, simulation, all these things. But what I would like to point out is kind of like the support quick links over here. Because here's some really neat things. If you're just starting out, we're going to touch on some of these through this lunch and learn. But if you just started out, there is a hardware and system requirements quick link here, right? That's always good to know what hardware you need and system requirements. One of the things I like to point out is getting started kit. So if you are a new user, this might be an interesting place to go to. You can see Rich Wells have given us a little welcome here. So things like stay current, right? Getting the latest upgrades to SolidWorks. How about watching some videos? SolidWorks has a ton of 1-minute tip videos and all different kinds of stuff out here. So as you can see here, there's a lot of things to kind of like explore. And, you know, I encourage you guys to do a lot of this exploring yourself. I don't want to dig too deep into this. But really, how do you get exploring also this? Well, you do it with a customer portal account. And if you don't have a customer portal account, you should get one. Every user should get one. You can have multiple customer portal accounts on one SolidWorks serial number, so it doesn't matter if you only have one seat of SolidWorks. Everybody still can get a customer portal account. You do it by hit down here, create an account. And what SolidWorks does here is it's asks you for an email address. Again, if you don't have a company email address, that doesn't matter. You can put in your Yahoo, your Gmail, whatever. It does ask for your serial number because it needs to know, you know, they're keeping track of it, but it's not, again, it's not like you can use multiple serial numbers. If you don't know how to get your serial number, let's jump back into SolidWorks here. Just open up SolidWorks back up here. To get your SolidWorks serial number, go to Help and About, and it will show you SolidWorks serial number. So that's the SolidWorks serial number that you will put in here. So creating these customer portal accounts is really easy. And again, when you do that, you can now access this customer portal. And as we saw from when we were inside of SolidWorks here, that that when you go to that general information, it really gives you, you know, a quick, good way to kind of like get started. You know, your hardware system requirements, and also this get started kit that will give you going. But as we're still inside SolidWorks here, I just want to run through a couple of other ones. Again, the customer portal, we're going to talk about that. That is kind of like where we just were. We're going to see that in a few minutes. I'm going to show a little bit more what's inside of it. But another thing we can access from right inside SolidWorks is user groups. Now, I see that some of you people here, I'm familiar with some of you people, and you guys are attending the user group. For people who don't know, the SolidWorks community is by far the biggest one of all the ones we're talking about. You know, all the competitors such as Pro-E, CATIA, you know, Siemens, and all those. SolidWorks have the biggest community, and the user community is absolutely amazing. That's all you guys. That's not us. That's actually, you know, the users out there. And there's user groups. And if you go to the user group network, you can actually find groups. And we have some fantastic groups in our area here. There's one in Buffalo. There's one in Rochester. There's one in Albany. They are all over, Corning, all different places. And if you click on finding a group, you can actually go in and search here on a map. So if I just put in something central to us here, not in Nevada, we are in New York. So I'm going to, if I put in Syracuse, which is like probably the mid-state, and search for that, we will see how many groups shows up here, right? We have 2 in Buffalo. There's an EPDM group there too, Rochester. So there's a lot of places in here. And again, if you are interested in getting on these mailing lists, email me, Lars@CADimensions.com. I'll definitely make sure you get on the mailing list for these user groups. They meet, some of them once a month, every other month, a couple times a year. Free. SolidWorks sponsor these with free food, and it's just a great way to kind of like learn. There's always presentations from either a reseller or from SolidWorks themselves, from users. Really great events. So the user groups are really awesome. There is also some special events going on. There was just one last week in Detroit. There's one coming up in State College, PA, where it's like a one-day event to SolidWorks sponsors. So really great stuff with the user groups. I'm a huge fan of user groups. Many of you guys know I love these things. So we can access that right in from SolidWorks. There's also the forum. Now, new for the forum in 2013 is that if I click on this one here, it actually opens up right in this task pane. we can actually access the forum. If you've never been out of the forum, the SolidWorks forum is phenomenal. I have been through, been part of a lot of forums through the years, and a lot of them are like, you're joining some kind of a serious forum, and then they suddenly are talking about car tires and what they're going to eat for dinner that night. SolidWorks forum is nothing like that. It's really awesome. There's a lot of great things in there, and one of the neat things about it is that a lot of SolidWorks people join in that too. And with this new interface, you can see the last ones in there, but you can actually also search for things, right? So maybe talking about system requirements, maybe a new computer. What computer, right? And if you search on that, hit enter, right in from this SolidWorks form here, it will actually filter down and give us, options on that, what it's searched for. Okay, configure a SolidWorks workstation. If you click on that, it's actually going to fire up and opening up that specific forum post for that. So, and you can actually join the forum. You can join the forum without even being on a on subscription. So you don't have to be on subscription to be part of the forum. It's really neat. This is actually Greg, who's one of the SolidWorks. He's been with SolidWorks for many, many years, giving some tips on what kind of system and CPU and stuff like that. So, right from inside SolidWorks, we can actually start searching and working with the forum. So I think that's neat that you can participate in it like that. Other thing in here is technical alerts and news. And many people don't know this, that right inside SolidWorks, as you're working in SolidWorks, so standard environments, we can actually keep track on what is going on out on SolidWorks, such as, did you know that 2013 Service Pack 4 is actually available right now for download? This is one of the places that you can go in and you can see some of the different things. You can see here when it was an early visibility, and then later on it got, you click here, you can go out and download it. So right from inside SolidWorks, we have this kind of access there. Now, a couple of other things that I just want to point out as we're working inside SolidWorks in 2013 is the drop-down menu up here. And there's actually some different things in here too. Now, I'm going to point out the SolidWorks help. And SolidWorks help, if you're not connected to the internet, you can still get SolidWorks help. But if you are connected to the internet, you actually will find that when you're searching SolidWorks help, you're actually getting an online version. And that's pretty neat about SolidWorks, because that way they can actually update the help files a lot quicker, right? So as they solve different issues with SolidWorks or add new functions or tweak things, the help menu is online. So when you're searching SolidWorks help, it goes online. So you get the latest revisions and stuff like that versus if it was just all with the installation. So that's kind of neat. So if we went in here and just search something like maybe you're trying to do something in SolidWorks here, you can see we have a model here of something for my mouse, and I want to do like surface fill. It will actually jump out online and give us our internet browser to get that, so we can make sure that we do get the latest. You can see here that it goes out to help.solidworks.com. It does give us the latest here. And I recommend people to use SolidWorks Help. I think that SolidWorks Help is really, really good. I really feel like that they've done, I think that they do a really good job describing a lot of things here with the commands. And if you go in and look at it, they've really done a nice job on explaining things graphically, links and stuff like that. So you need to know that the SolidWorks help does goes online, so SolidWorks actually can update it, all the time. And also to be aware of that if you search on something, I search on surface fill, we can read a lot on it here, but also be aware of that down at the bottom of the help file, it actually shows what's going on the forum on that specific topic. Because you might be searching the help and then you're still feeling like, well, okay, but I still need to know more. and you can search the forum. And the forum is amazing for SolidWorks. I can't say enough about it. There's really some great people out there, SolidWorks people, SolidWorks bar, but also a ton of users who are really helping each other a lot. And the neat thing about this is that their help is on 24/7, right? So that's really helpful. So I recommend to really use that. Another thing that I want to show in here, besides the help, is the knowledge base. So you can search the knowledge base from up here. Now the knowledge base is a little bit more technical related. Actually, if you get some kind of an error, you can search the knowledge base. You have to be subscription to go to the knowledge base, be on subscription, but it can really help you too. It's full of all kinds of stuff. One of the issues that I ran into lately was a customer talking to me about he was losing his real view when he was working in assembly sometimes. It seemed like to be on and off. So if you went in here on the knowledge base and you search something like real view assembly and you hit enter, you will actually see that it's going to go out to the knowledge base. I'm going to be access to log into my customer portal. So like I said, you have to be in subscription to get access to this, but you sign up for your customer portal, and you will see that it comes up here again with information on it. So why is RealView not available on some large assemblies? Have you ever wondered that? Is that ever happening to you? Well, the knowledge base is the place to read about this. We use this a lot. If you call us, we might many times are searching the knowledge base to find out about some of these things, because we can't remember everything either. So the answer for this one is when the assembly is open in large assembly mode, RealView is not available. In large assembly mode, RealView is off. This is an intended behavior, right? So if you have ever worked on a large assemblies, you will have found that RealView might be off. Well, if you go into your options and you go into assemblies, you will see in here you got large assemblies. So if I'm in my case is over 500 components and it's loaded up like this, I don't have my RealView on. So really the knowledge base has really a lot of information on it. And if you I encourage people to submit cases with us, but this is really a neat place also for you to know that you can actually go out there and find a lot of answers. Like I said, we personally use it a lot internally to find the help and stuff like that for that. And then also, as you maybe have seen again, the community forum, you can actually also search it from right up here. Okay, so again, we talk about surfaces. If I go in here and I say, all right, knit surface, maybe I have an issue. If I can spell, I have an issue with knitting my surfaces or my model or something like that. The forum is another great way to go out and find these kind of answers. Now I'm in the forum. You can again see the different threads where that will come up in. You can filter down and something like that, and you can see here that somebody had an issue with surface and thickening problem. Maybe you find your answer and somebody have answered that in here. You will have a lot of different surfacing gurus show up in here. Mark is probably he's the SolidWorks employee and the guy who does all surfacing things. I mean, who don't want to get help from him, right? So that's one of the neat things about the forum is that you really get gurus or geeks right there with you, and you can do all that again from right inside of SolidWorks. So that's really neat. Just from the drop down up here, you can quickly search a lot of this stuff. So point here is that right inside SolidWorks, you can actually access online resources, right? And I really think that is really neat. That from right there we can jump in, right? I mean, as you're working on your design, bang, you can literally go in there and very quickly and just very, easy search that and get the information that you're looking for. So I really think that to know that that's where to go. You don't have to go out to Google. You don't have to, be afraid of being bombarded with a billion information like many of us. We're almost getting an overflow of that. I talked about the customer portal, and I really do think that the customer portal is kind of like a very good way to access a lot of information. So let me just jump into the customer portal so you kind of like see me logging into it. But let me just shut down my browsers here. I should have some internet browsers. Let's just close them all down. And to get into my customer portal, if I open up my normal browser here, I can just search Solidworkscom. That's probably the easiest way to get into it, right? If you want to do it from like a standard browser, we get Solidworks website up here. Again, a ton of information here too. I mean, we could spend hours here. Resource Center is one of my favorite links to click on, just because, if you do have a lot of time, there's tutorials, tech tips, demos, there's all kinds of stuff in here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this login up here. And when you get in here, you get provided with this screen that shows us 3 different kind of like icons. We're going to go into the SolidWorks customer portal. Again, you get prompted to log in. So if you don't have an account, create one down here. I showed you how to get your serial number. If you run into any issues, Lars at CADimensions.com would be the way to go. Now, this customer portal here, it's customized to you. So you will see that mine shows up here with my name on it, and also who's my reseller and stuff like that. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but I just want to kind of like throw some of the things at you, so you're just aware of that this is really a great way to access a lot of things. We just talked about the knowledge base, so you can also access from here. Knowledge base has a lot of things, not even SolidWorks related, but even like Microsoft related, right? Because SolidWorks and Windows really have to play together. Enhancement requests. I like to talk about enhancement requests because SolidWorks really do listen to their customers. They do that. And so anytime that you come across something in the software where you're like, man, I wish this would do it differently, or, I think that this might be something that should be, this should be done differently. Maybe I just have a good idea. Enhancement requests are awesome. You click on enhancement request and you can type something in. Apparently today I want to be on surface, so let's say fill surface. That was the one we were kind of like reading up on the help before. Now when I hit that one, you will see that it finds all these different, there's 10 different ones here, where people are talking about what they suspect is issues with fill surface, okay? Would like a corresponding feature data object with the fill surface references, or, issues. So you can kind of like see if other people have kind of like already submitted that same idea that you have. If you don't see that, then you can click down here, and now it'll actually let you type in for different areas. So we can find here curves and surfaces, because we're talking about fill surfaces. We can kind of like say, all right, this is about surface fill, and it gives you us an option to kind of like put a description in there. And again, the more people who's pushing for things, SolidWorks do listen. It's like 90% of all new things in SolidWorks is actually customers asking for the things. So I recommend everybody to do that from the customer portal, to literally put in, those ideas, so we can get them in there, and we can affect the software. And I have seen that with customers. I have personally seen customers put in enhancement requests, and SolidWorks the next year changed them. So there's a lot of those things in there. You can kind of like explore this yourself. System requirements, references, and stuff like that. You can go in here and play around with a lot of this stuff yourself. Downloads and updates. This is where we can get the next release of SolidWorks or the next service pack for SolidWorks. Okay. 3D Content Central is a huge thing that that actually is controlled by the mothership of SolidWorks, the SO systems. It's a website that you can share models, but not only that, a lot of vendors have loaded up. There's thousands of, not millions of models up here, right? You can go in here. You need to get an air valve, or and you can go in and search for air valves. Maybe, you know, you will see that again when you search for air valves, there's a lot of different ones. Maybe you know that there's a manufacturer, so you can go up here and search for maybe a manufacturer or kind or something like that. It will filter further down. When you find the valve you want, you can just click on it, and you can now actually go in and download that 3D model of that valve, and maybe even save you hours of modeling it up yourself or needing that and stuff like that. There's another website called GrabCAD that does kind of like the same thing. If people are not familiar with that site, I really recommend, you know, it's okay to be lazy when we're working with CAD and CAM, and if the model is already modeled up, man, you know, I'm not going to model it up if I can get away with it. So GrabCAD, or like I talked about, 3D Constant Central is places for that where you can search. And I mean, I have found human bodies done in SolidWorks. I have found really consumer parts that we would, you know, that we can buy in the store and stuff like that. SolidWorks Labs, that's another place if you're not familiar with SolidWorks Labs from the customer portal. This is actually small add-ins that SolidWorks gives you for free. This is a way, the free treehouse is a way to create kind of like an assembly structure. So you can do that. If you're sending a lot of drawings, drawing tools will actually let you send drawings to customers and stuff like that. So this is kind of like almost like apps that SolidWorks have created that they will give you for free. Anybody do photo rendering, photo view 360 appearances. So SolidWorks actually, the photo view rendering, so this is professional and premium users. The photo rendering capabilities in SolidWorks is actually provided by a company called Voxology, and they have actually made a lot more appearances available for SolidWorks than what you get with your standard install with SolidWorks. So if you are using any appearances, if you're going to SolidWorks here, the different appearances that is coming with SolidWorks, you can actually add a lot of new ones through the customer portal. They have a lot of really neat rendering things. So that's again another thing that we can get through the customer portal. So there's a lot of things in here in the customer portal. Again, you can access the forum, the groups. Again, a lot of stuff. I get excited when I'm talking about this kind of stuff. And really what I think the customer portal is easy access to a lot of information out there. So it's just a good way to start, a safe way to start without really have to kind of like worrying too much about that. The second last thing I want to talk about is a new thing. It's called my.solidworks.com. And some of you guys maybe have heard about it, come across it, or whatever it is. This is a new thing that SolidWorks have come up with. It was actually just launched, I believe, earlier this year. If you go into it, so it's my.solidworks.com. Very catchy, right? You wonder how many domains are left soon. Well, my.solidworks.com is a landing page. And it's a landing page of a lot of different things. As you can see here on the screen, it looks like a standard website, right? And as we're looking at it here, it's a little overwhelming. But what is really great about SolidWorks, or my.solidworks, is the search functionality of it. So what it is a website that is really linked to a lot of things that I've just talked about. It's linked to the SolidWorks knowledge base. It's linked to the SolidWorks blog. It's also linked to the SolidWorks forum and 3D Constant Central, plus a lot of other things. So you can search on things in here. You can filter things down. So this is a great place to come in every day if you want to read what's latest on the blogs and stuff like that. But what I really like to show about it is, again, the search functionalities. So let's say that you have Premium or Professional, and or you don't, but your owner comes and asks you about PhotoView 360, and you're like, geez, I never really played with it. Let me just kind of like grasp my hands around it. Now, we do have the tutorials in SolidWorks, but if we go in here and start typing photo, we can see that we get filtered down, and we can actually click photo view. Now we can see we got photo beta because beta doesn't work. But if I just click photo view 360, you will see that my.solidworks.com filters every down into content, and you will see we get a long list of things. Now I was talking about not being bombarded with data, right? Here's 1,300 results. But what is really neat is we can actually filter down by the SolidWorks blog, by the SolidWorks help, or by the SolidWorks forum, or actually down in areas. So if I went down here and says, well, you know, what about SolidWorks installation? And I click on this, and it's actually going to filter down into that specific area on the search. Or I could say that maybe I want to see what's out on the forum, and I can filter down on that search. So my.solidworks.com is a really neat way to kind of like go out there and filter down a landing page. Now where this comes from is because Dassault Systems, who own SolidWorks, bought a few different companies. And one of them is called NetVibes. Some of you guys maybe have heard of NetVibes, and I just wanted to quickly show it here. I'm just going to create a new tab. NetVibes, I used NetVibes before actually Dassault bought it. NetVibes.com. You can create an account. And I just wanted to show you this because if you're not aware of it, it's kind of like you can create your own custom web page where you can pull in feeds of stuff. So this is actually my feed for SolidWorks blogs over here. And NetVibes still exists like this. So you can see that I have kind of like all the different blogs that is out there. I have a one landing page where all this feed goes into. A lot of people are using Google Reader that just actually got stopped. It's not Google Reader anymore. But so I just wanted to let you know. So there is places like this for you to filter down a lot of content. So this is just all my SolidWorks blogs. You can see I also have engineering news tabs, so maybe it's a little bit few in here for different websites. So their RSS feed, whenever they post something, comes right to my blog. That's NetVibes. It's kind of like an add-on into it. But that's kind of like part of what MySolidworks does here. And again, it will search the knowledge base. It will search a lot of things. So I kind of like encourage you to, you know, maybe save this link, my.solidworks.com, explore a little bit. It's a good way to see what's going on in the blog and other. They post some neat links here and stuff like that. Some neat different, designing machines, different things. So it's definitely a good place to come if you want to get a lot of this kind of like a lot of this overload. I kind of like put this as a tag of new, better, and faster because that's what I think it is. We all know we're living in a information, age where we get bombarded with information, and I think this is a good way to kind of like fill a lot of the overflow out. If you just go out to Google.com and search SolidWorks, you get bombarded, right? What also reminds me of like YouTube is a good way too to get a lot of the insights. The last thing I want to show is us, CADimensions. We are your reseller, and we are here for you in that regard. We just launched a brand new website too, so let me just promote that one, CADimensions.com. Now it was sent out this week, so this is brand spanking new, brand new website, and we try to do a lot too to give you guys as much information as we need. One of the things my favorite is actually upcoming training schedules here. So you can see what classes are full. You can register from right here. I really think that, if you're interested in hands-on test drives for the different things we're doing, event schedules, stuff like that, it's all right here on our website. A couple of other things that I just want to show as we're sitting here to lunch and learn is if you go up to resources, you can actually also go out to videos on WebEx. This would actually be these lunch and learns, and you will see all the previous one we have done. So this is definitely a huge resource, I think. There's no big fan of these lunch and learns. Tech support, right? You can contact tech support from right here. This is actually the fastest way to get help from us is to go to our website and hit this contact tech support fill out a ticket, and it gets right into our system. But we got a lot of other things here. Don't forget about CADimensions. Is out on the Facebook, the LinkedIn, the Twitter, and on YouTube. There's so much information out on YouTube too. I'm also on a lot of these. If you want to befriend me, you can definitely do that. But we really here at CADimensions really are trying to get as much information to you guys as possible. And I really hope that one of our goals is really to help you guys, because we know that the better you guys are with SolidWorks, well, the better it is for us too. So I hope that you guys take advantage of us. If you're running into any issues with SolidWorks, please contact us. That's what we're here for. That's what your companies are paying support for and stuff like that. And we are trying our best. And any feedback about, support and service and stuff like that you can give us, I would definitely, we appreciate that. We are in a customer service business. We're just doing CAD. That's really, just the kind of like the side note of that. So hope you guys getting the service from us that you of course need. So I really hope that this 35 minutes, I didn't want to turn it into a huge data dump. I hope that you got something out of it. I hope you saw some neat new ways to use SolidWorks to kind of like solve your day-to-day quick issues that you're running into. My name is Lars. Please email me at lars@CADimensions.com. Any feedback, what you thought of this. If you want to get more information, I can definitely send you all the links to all the different SolidWorks blogs. There's a lot of them out there. If you want to get on the user group email list, I'll definitely make sure you get in whatever area you're in. So I'll be here if anybody get any questions. Definitely go ahead, submit them, and I will try to answer them. My email is another way for sure to get a hold of me. And thank you so much, all of you guys, for taking the time to attend us with this lunch and learn. I surely hope that you got, a couple of tips and tricks on, getting the SolidWorks running quicker, right? Either by getting help quicker or something like that. So, any questions, I'll be here. Again, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.